Good morning and welcome to the number one Group of Five college football podcast in the world. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need your help to do that. We need you to follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. Share with your family and friends, or you can go to group-of-5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys merch. On this episode, one last weekend of the regular season, we are going to preview. We're going to talk about conference championship scenarios, college football playoff scenarios. We may even rank Thanksgiving dishes on this show. There'll be plenty more. Hope you enjoy it. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Jeff, I had a dream last night, and I have this sort of dream relatively often. It's like a recurring dream. It's a little bit different every time. I'm hoping I'm not the only one. Like it's that I'm about to get ready to go into a game and I can't find my helmet.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I have it often. Or like there's always something that I'm missing, or like I'm about to go or I'm trying to get my ankles taped or something and I'm late. Like I'm late to the game or something like that. I have this often, and I have it with whether it be sports. Sometimes I have it where, like I can't find my class that I'm late for. I was trying to do some research on it this morning. I think it's my fear of being ill prepared.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what I tried to look it up. I was like, why do I have this dream that I'm always like either like can't find something or late to something, and then I always wake up right before like it would happen, like right before I'm about to get tossed into a game. And it's always weird too, like it's never like a middle game. Like so there's middle people there sometimes, like y'all will be in it sometimes, but then it'll be like my old Pee-wee coach will be the one like tossing me in, or like it'll be my high school. It'll be like I'll be like it'll be my high school coaches, but I'll be in a middle jersey. It's weird. It's like it's really strange. This is
what the Google says. It says often signifies feelings of anxiety, stress, or a sense of being overwhelmed in your waking life, usually related to a situation where you feel like you're not meeting expectations or falling behind.
Well, I'll tell you who's not meeting expectations and falling behind, and that's the college football committee, the playoff committee. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know why.
Honestly,
I don't
when
know
you said a dream, when you said a dream, I thought you were going to give like an MLK speech about two teams making the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I had a dream.
Yeah, dude, that ain't a dream, buddy. Heather Dinich got on there, and what's the playoff commissioner's name? I don't know, Ward Manuel or something like that. They both got up there and started planting the Tulane seed. Tulane sitting at 17, Arizona State at 16. The Big 12 is all jumbled in there, so you probably need another weekend of chaos for Tulane to jump. But
so I don't know if they get it. This weekend's pretty light in the Big 12, but crazier things have happened. But you got Arizona State ranked at 16, Tulane at 17. Iowa State at 18, BYU at 19.
Oh, and then Colorado at 25, right?
Yep. And Kansas State at 24.
Yeah. You know, one thing I didn't he kind of fixed it. He kind of, you know, changed his thought. Like when Heather Dinich brought that up and Reese Davis got back on the show, I actually watched it. I haven't watched it all year. I've normally just waited till the, you know, the standings come or the rankings come out and I just look at it. But Reese Davis was like, oh boy, could you imagine you get the Mountain West and the American champion? And then I give him credit. Greg McElroy was like, Tulane's really good. And then Reese Davis was like, they are really good. And then he said, but they lost to Oklahoma and Kansas State, who are Kansas State's now ranked. But then I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, well, then you got Alabama at 13. That was the one. Look, I'm sorry. That was the one that caught me off guard. Them still being at 13. I mean, they are just.
Why did that? I mean, why did that catch you off guard? Why does that surprise you, Sprouse? It shouldn't.
Well, yeah. To be honest, it should surprise even the SEC fans that are out there should be unhappy with that. Because again, I mean, I've been saying it for a couple shows now, a couple weeks now. It's like they didn't lose to the good SEC.
Yeah. So
the strength of schedule argument and this and that is not. And again, like if you're watching games, okay, then this is gonna be crazy now. If you watch even Alabama beat Georgia, right? Like they jumped on them in the first quarter and a half, but outside of that, they looked pretty bad. And then they have the game against South Carolina that at the end of the game, they give up, I think they give up a 2-point conversion and then they give up an onside kick and then they have all this stuff. And it's like, they're making a lot of mistakes that bad teams make is all I'll say. Like, and again, everybody's going to say on a neutral field, Alabama would be favored against any of those teams. Probably, but they were favored by 4 touchdowns against Vanderbilt and they lost. They were favored by 3 or 4 touchdowns against Oklahoma, and they lost. They were favored by a touchdown against Tennessee, and they lost. So, like, I can't stand it when Feinbaum gets on there. He'll probably get on there today, and that's going to be his argument because they're going to keep Alabama right there so that the Alabama fans are the most outraged because that'll be the most clicks. That'll be the most ratings. They'll either get in somehow or they'll be the ones. I mean, you got to look. What was South Carolina's at 14?
Yes. No, 15. Ole Miss is at 14. They're leaving these teams right around. So if you get a backdoor cover somewhere.
Yep. Well, but here's the thing. Here's what I would say if I was looking at that. I mean, Alabama plays Auburn, Ole Miss plays Mississippi State, and South Carolina plays Clemson. So if they all 3 win this weekend, in my opinion, South Carolina, if any of them deserve to get in, would get in because again, if you go and watch, like South Carolina got robbed against LSU, should have won that game, and then probably should have won the Alabama game.
Yeah.
So they're to me have been the best out of those 3, at least the most consistent, I would say. But
we got a chance here, Sprouse. Actually,
we absolutely have a chance
because you got Arizona State playing their rival on the road. Arizona, who they got some pieces. They were ranked. A lot of people are high in Arizona coming into the season.
Yep.
You got Iowa State's at home, but they play Kansas State. They're ranked back in the top 25 again. Now Houston plays BYU. I think BYU's out just because they've lost late.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Colorado has a chance, even if they win.
Well, I saw Deion Sanders' press conference yesterday, and he was talking about a bowl game. They were asking him, "Is this the last time we're going to see Shedeur and Travis Hunter in a Colorado uniform?" Like they didn't even mention.
Yeah, I don't.
Like even Deion didn't say, "Well, we still have a chance at the championship." So I don't know.
I want more Big 12 implosion.
Me too.
I want so much chaos that the Baylor Bears sneak in.
I mean, again, I think it's what's hurting Tulane is how bad Army looked against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's going to be because, again, now the pressure to me is on. If they go, listen, Memphis is a damn good team. Memphis, I'm surprised, is not sitting there at 25 or something like that. Even though we've been a little low on them, I mean, they're winning. You know, they've lost.
They just haven't been doing it with style. They did.
Right.
I mean, they handled their business last week.
Yeah. Well, so Tulane, I think, has got to beat them pretty handily, which will be tough. And then they've got to beat Army in the championship game pretty handily, which will be tough. And otherwise, and I'll be fine with that argument. If they don't do those things, then I'm fine with somebody saying, yeah, they're not quite there. I'm okay with that. Now, if you're a Tulane fan, we'll talk about it here in a second, but I think your more likely chance is a team out of Las Vegas helping you out in the Mountain West Championship game.
Yeah.
But hey, before I forget, got to talk about Decker Gray Coffee Company. I've got my Christmas roast. I've got it ready. It's been smelling up the whole house. Got the, tell me what it is again. Cosmic Christmas. Cosmic Christmas. So I got that one, and I got another one. I got the Space Cowboy this time. I haven't tried it yet. And then, of course, I got the Group of Five Guys Game Day Dark Roast. Make sure you visit decagray.com. Use our promo code GOFG. Roast to order coffee. As soon as you put it in your cart and you click purchase, that's when they roast it. That's when they bag it. Ship it directly to your door. Use our code GOFG for 10% off plus free shipping. I know they got coffee subscriptions now. So you can do that. Get that auto order on, save you a little money, and then save you the hassle of, unlike myself, full transparency, where I wait until we're completely out before I order more. And then I got to go like 2 days. I got to stop at the gas station and get an energy drink or something like that. But deckergray.com, use that promo code GOFG. So we talked about it a little bit already, Jeff, these rankings, these scenarios. I mean, I'll give the committee credit, actually. But what they have done is they did this last year too. Remember last year when they ranked Florida State so high, so early, and then they kept winning and they couldn't let them get jumped?
Yeah.
Part of me feels like that's what they've done, like a little bit with Boise. I mean, because Boise has not looked good the last 3 weeks. They haven't. I don't think any Boise State fans denying that, but they've just kept them right there. Now they've let them get jumped by an SEC here and there, but they've dropped somebody else out of there. But it's interesting. Like I look at Clemson. So if that Clemson South Carolina game is going to be a play-in game. Now Clemson still has a shot to win the ACC because if Miami loses, it'll be Clemson versus SMU in the ACC championship game. Miami's got Syracuse this week, which is certainly not a walk in the park. And then, so you hope for our sake and for really everybody's sake, you hope that doesn't happen in the ACC, because then the ACC will have an argument for two if Clemson wins it. Now Clemson, if Clemson loses to South Carolina, that would be something interesting, Jeff. That's a scenario we didn't think about here. If Clemson loses to South Carolina and Miami loses to Syracuse, then Clemson beats SMU in the championship. Now you have a 3-loss conference champion in the ACC. Okay, I don't know. Do the Raging Cajuns get a phone call?
No, there's no way.
That would never. I'm so glad that Heather Dinich, and I think she's another ESPN like SEC person, right? But she got on there and then she was like, I'm not predicting this is going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but she's like, but the people need to know the rules. This is not the 4 Power 4 champions and one other. She was like, it's the 5 highest ranked. And then that's when she said, and look at Arizona State and Tulane sitting there, 16-17. She's like, I'm just saying it could happen. And then that's when they were like, oh, could you imagine? But then, like, Reese Davis and Ward Emanuel, the playoff commissioner, were talking, and I'll give it to Reese Davis. He said, look, yeah, they lost their two only opportunities at a Power 4, but It was week 2 and 3. It was a brand new coach with a freshman quarterback. So like, I'm glad. And then the commissioner was like, yeah, I mean, then they just came off like a huge dominant win over Navy, and they've been playing. I mean, they've been dominating everybody they've played since then. So
that's my thing is what happened to remember,
the early loss.
The early loss. Yeah. Everyone used to talk about that when, Ohio State or an SEC team would get beat early in the season, and then you'd almost forget about it. Now, I know there's 2 losses there, but especially how the Kansas State game went for Tulane. Like, I don't know, man. You got to look at the entire body of work. I get that. But you also have to look at who's playing the best right now. I think that has to factor in the eye test. How does that eye test look right now, the last couple of weeks, the most recent, what have you done for me lately? And Tulane has looked the part now. They're coming off a long week. I hope they're ready to, go. Because Memphis, like you said, we've talked about them all year. Memphis was one of the favorites to make the playoff. I mean, they have talent on both sides of the ball. Now they haven't just come out and crushed teams like we thought, but they're still a good team. And it's going to be a great matchup on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, well, they got guys, man. Memphis, we talk about this. The Memphis always does, even when they're not good. They always have guys. And Summerall said it. He said this is like we're preparing for an SEC team. And when you look at and see, that's why I think, Jeff, both of us are a little more probably biased towards Tulane and Memphis preseason over a Boise State, because I think they match the physicality better of a potential playoff opponent. You build your roster, the kind of kids you're getting in the South versus out West. I mean, it's just like if you took the SEC and an old Pac-12 team. Hey, I'm not saying they're not good, right? Those USC teams in the early 2000s were really good, but they weren't built like teams in the South with physicality, more old school style football. Out West, they really good quarterbacks, typically high-powered offenses.
Well, even before the season, we talked about it. Nobody really knows until you set foot on the field. But for me, it was, we knew how good Genty was. Probably not this great. I mean, these are Hall of Fame type college numbers. Yeah. But we knew it was mainly him. We had the quarterback question. And outside of that, they had a couple pieces on both Hasani and on defense and a couple pieces, McCoy. But we always felt like Tulane and Memphis were probably going to be more well-rounded, right? If you take out Genty from Boise's, I don't know, 5-loss team maybe? Like Genty is that good. He is that dude. They have the best player on the field every time they play a game. Now you take just one piece away from Tulane or one piece away from Memphis, I still think they have fairly similar seasons. I think they got more pieces.
And I'll say this about Boise State to their credit, and they got one of them back last week, but that O-line's been beat up.
Yeah.
Towards the second half of the season, they've been missing 2 and 3 starters on the O-line. So, and I think that's part of the reason why Genty is now seems like he's beat up, because if you go watch, Genty, his after contact yardage is ridiculous. His after
still leading the
leading the country in yardage. Yeah, if it's just after contact. However, what I'll say is in those first couple weeks, right, he had at least won a game where he just went untouched for like 60 or 70, and that's credit to your offensive line and his vision. Okay, I'm not discrediting that, but you're seeing less and less of that. Probably after that UNLV game is when you started seeing, okay, when they're selling out, he is getting met at the line or in the backfield even. And so that I also think is part of the issue with why they've relied so much on Maddox Madsen. And that's why I think they've been in close games lately, because they've put themselves out of second, third, and short and into second and medium, third and long, because he hasn't been able to get to the second level before being touched quite as often. So, So then, like I said, they had one of the guys back. I can't remember his name, Carolon or something like that, was back last week. They're supposed to get another guy back potentially by conference championship week. You'd think they'd all be back by playoff time, especially if they get this bye week. So
I'd like to know,
maybe Boise, yeah, they haven't played that great the last 3 weeks, but maybe it's a situation where, like I said on Monday, like, just hang on. They'll be back. You'll get your guys back. But you got to get by Oregon State. You should be able to get by, but UNLV is going to be really tough.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough matchup. And you mentioned Sire Gaines, their backup, who's really good as well. I'm wondering, I tried to look it up. I hadn't seen much on his injury. But if they could get him back, then you get a little bit of your 1-2 punch back. You can spell Genty a little bit more, kind of save him. No, I think whatever team we get in, if it's Boise, if it's Tulane, hopefully we get both. I think both are going to represent the group of 5 very well.
Yeah. And it, the matchups, it's going to be matchups, right? It's pretty certain that I think year 5 is going to be Ohio State or Oregon, right? I mean, loser of the Big Ten championship game is going to probably be year 5 because they'll be ranked 2 or 3 in the committee's eye. So
could be Oregon though.
It could be Oregon. Are we going out there?
Outson. I got some connections out west, Sprouse. You know that.
You got to fly into Portland.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know about that. Everything I've seen on TV, I don't know. I can't tell if they're camping out to get into the Oregon game or camping out because they live there. Sorry. That's going to be, that's more than likely going to be year 5, unless you get some kind of a lopsided game in the Big Ten championship game, something like that. So if Tulane gets in, that's where you're going, buddy. So,
yeah, boy,
that'd be fun. That'd be pretty cool.
So then if I'm looking at this bracket right, even if we get 2 win, you'll get the American champ at the 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll
have to go to either.
They'll end up, but let's just say for shits and giggles, Tulane gets to 12, they beat whoever the 5 seed is. Then they gotta play Boise. Then play fucking Boise.
Yeah, it's all right. You'd love that, man. Wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, but it's almost
you're guaranteed. But then you're guaranteed a group of 5 in the Final 4.
Yeah.
That's a better. Obviously, you would have to have Tulane win a game.
Yeah, for sure.
That's better. That's better than, God forbid, you get 2 in and they both lose.
That's true.
My God.
That's true.
Part of me is, in a weird way, like, you want to see an SMU or an Arizona State get in and them just get smoked. Well, actually, no, that's not true. What I want to see is Ohio State or somebody play Texas or somebody with a name, and it's a blowout. With either way, that's what I really want to see. And I hope that's like the Friday game and it gets us started just to set the tone. I'm hedging my bet here is what I'm doing.
No, I'm with you. What I think is dumb as it stands right now. And I guess, why do you have Georgia playing Tennessee? Why do you have Indiana playing Penn State? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know.
Like move them up or down
to a different side.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Don't have conference matchups in the playoff.
If you're number 9, just move them to 10. It's the same thing.
Of course, Notre Dame would get SMU. That's a cakewalk.
Well, yeah, but if you're 9, okay. But if you're 9, and see, that's my thing with everybody wanting 6 teams from the SEC, and it's like you already played each other.
You've seen it.
Like you've already seen Georgia beat Tennessee. So why do we need to see it again? Now I get it. They'll say, well, yeah, but then Tennessee beat Alabama and Alabama beat Georgia. Well, so what? That's what the standings are for, and that's what you get for wanting 16 teams in your damn conference. Mm-hmm. You can't let them play each other, and they got to play Mercer and they got to play Tennessee Tech in week 2.
That's right.
That's your fault. And so you made the schedule. You take your standings. Get rid of the championship game. I don't care. Put your top 4 teams. Put 3 or 4 of them in there. I don't care about that. But it's like, you're trying to get these teams that have lost 3 times. And again, Alabama specifically, like Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Tennessee. I don't know, man. I don't. I don't understand why. It's like, look, if based on your schedule, if you've already proven that you're not the best team in your own conference, why should we give you a chance to be the best team in the whole country? That's my thought. I mean,
Yeah,
you look again, you look at the NFL, we've talked about it. You look at every other sport league at every level ever. Look at the NFL. There's been plenty of times when a team from one conference, how many times did the Seahawks get a home playoff game at like 7-9? Remember that? And everybody was up in arms. Oh, their division's so bad that why should they get a home game? But then guess what they did? They would go win.
Yeah.
So it happens all the time. I mean, even in the NFL with 4 teams in a division, they build their roster to beat the best team in the division. The Dolphins, Bills, and Jets have spent 20 years trying to build a roster to beat Tom Brady. Nobody could do it. But they had damn good teams often. And guess what? They always had to go on the road if they made the playoffs because the Patriots were too good. Same thing in how the SEC used to be. Sorry, Alabama's too good. Georgia's too good. You're fine. You're good too. But they're way better. Sorry, that's your conference.
Yeah, figure out how to win your conference.
Yeah, I just don't understand. So those are the scenarios we probably have though for the playoff. The best look, most likely, like straightforward, is Boise State just wins out and Arizona State wins the Big 12. And then I think nothing we could do. And honestly, like I wouldn't make too strong of an argument for Tulane, right? I mean, they're playing really good football right now. I think they're playing better than Boise State is right now. But I can't sit here and tell Alabama, hey, don't lose to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt if I can say Tulane, hey, don't lose to Oklahoma and Kansas State. Now, we could talk about officials all we want for Kansas State, and we could talk about all the variables with the freshman quarterback and new coaches and new this. But, I mean, that's why we have the whole season. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, Thanksgiving's tomorrow, Jeff. So, by the way, we're probably not going to do a show Friday. I think, we'll both be trying to spend time with family. We got Thursday football, we got Friday football. I got to make sure that I get the games I need to watch on Friday and Saturday on the TV versus some other games. Computers and phone is probably going to get a lot of work. But so we're probably not going to do a show Friday. It's just going to be tough. Too many people running around, all that stuff. But so we need to take today, talk about it, Jeff. Thanksgiving dishes. Now, what does the Murphy family do? What do you guys do? Do you guys do the same thing every year?
Pretty much. We do Scarlett's family, all the family in Tennessee. We did it actually Sunday because her sisters are out of town. So we kind of knocked it out with that family early. Traditional turkey. I smoked a ham with a nice cherry glaze on it. It was really good. You got the mac and cheese, sweet potato casserole, all the staples of Thanksgiving. And then my other, I got an extended family. Our good buddies at Raiders Fan Radio, Buddy Murph, does Italian Thanksgiving every year. It's freaking heaven. I mean, he cooks for like 3 days. Homemade meatballs, focaccia bread, homemade pizza, rigatoni. A huge, massive spread with wine, all the stuff. It's an Italian freaking heaven, man. It was awesome. So I went there, happened to fall on the same day this year. So I went there morning and, had some vino, ate a bunch of food, and then went to Scarlett's family after. So it was good. Ate a lot of food on Sunday.
Really?
Yep. And then today, we got Friendsgiving, my wife's Friendsgiving. So I'm actually smoking some chuck roast, and I'm making birria tacos out of the smoked chuck roast. I got smoker going right now. I got my, it's gonna be big time. So we're doing a couple things this week, but switching it up. I kind of get tired of the turkey and ham.
Me too. Yeah, typically, like as you know, it gets so much harder when your family grows.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because you got my family, you got my wife's family, you got my brother's wife's family, you got, her brother's girlfriend's. It's like there's so many families, and it's impossible to get everybody together and do the same thing. And so we pretty much rotate every holiday. And so naturally this year we're doing all the traveling. So we'll go to my wife's family for Thanksgiving. We'll go to my family for Christmas. But yeah, turkey, first of all, any poultry, it's difficult to cook. And so 9 times out of 10, it comes, no matter who's doing it, unless you smoke it or fry it, it comes out, it's whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I'm more of a ham guy. Now, when we've hosted, I typically do a prime rib.
I love prime rib.
Yeah. But I just do it in the oven too, put a little Dijon mustard, lather it all up. Lather it up. Yeah, lather it up with a little Dijon mustard, a little salt, pep, garlic. That's it, man. That's it. And then you make some au jus to pour over it. But all the dessert dishes are what really makes Thanksgiving. I mean, you get a plate, usually I put 2 little slices of turkey on there and then just a slab of sweet potato casserole. That's the best dish.
It's like candy.
It really is. And everybody makes it a little bit different. My mom makes it one way, my wife's mom makes it. They're both different, but they're both good. A little crunch in there, a little brown sugar, the marshmallows, the whole deal.
Pecans.
Yeah, man, pecans are something special. Nice and that nice crunch. And see, I like it now. This might be weird, maybe it's not. I like it cold. The next day. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, day after you're making a turkey sandwich with whatever you got left. I like doing the sweet potato casserole cold too. It's good. Give it a try. Give it a try this year, Jeff.
Check it out. We'll see.
Give it a try cold the next day. It's like ice cream. I mean, it's like ice cream with toppings on it. Honestly,
that's good. I love sweet potato.
Now,
my wife's family does a pineapple cheese casserole.
Yeah,
that's really good. That's like a dessert too. It's pineapple. It's literally pineapple cheese. It's like Ritz crackers mixed in, and then you bake it.
You said that last year, and I was a little concerned. But then I went to, where was I at? Some barbecue joint down here in Georgia, and they had it, and it was exactly that.
Fire.
It was like pineapple chunks and some cheddar cheese, I guess. And
cheddar cheese
and Ritz crackers. It was pretty good stuff.
Yeah, Tim, it is stretchy pants season. Gotta loosen up the belt loop.
I had sweatpants on right now.
And no doubt, joggers,
sweatpants. If you got some Lululemons, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Now that birria taco, that's made like it's very popular now.
Yeah,
it hasn't always been.
No, from what I've gathered, my time out on the West Coast with large population of Hispanic families, this was always like a pretty like specialty dish. Something you make, special occasion. Something like that, but it's gotten real popular. I equate it to, I'm a sandwich guy on a deli. Got the dip, the French dip. It's like the Spanish version of the French dip.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And then the way like every Mexican restaurant around here has it now.
Yeah,
they're getting it at food trucks. I had matter of fact on Saturday morning there was a little Christmas market out here, and there was a food truck had a birria pizza, which was it basically was a huge quesadilla.
Yeah, I was in this. Yeah,
but with, like I was like, what is that? Because they literally had tacos, quesadilla, like every standard Mexican dish with birria in it. But then they had that pizza, and I was like, what's that? And they're all the same. Like the taco is basically. It's the same. It's just a tortilla into a taco, and it's like fried, on either side.
Well, did you know this, Sprouse?
What's that?
Traditional birria tacos is goat meat.
Really? Mm-hmm. I would like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like goat.
I've made it in
it's cheaper, but
I've made it in a crock pot.
Yeah,
it's pretty. It's kind of easy. It takes a while, and then it takes a while if you don't have like a good. I guess if you had like a Blackstone or something, that would be the way to do it for like the quesadillas and tacos. Because if you're making them for a lot, you make a 3-pound chuck roast. Yeah. You got to make a lot of tacos. Yeah, so then if you're like me, you're just sitting there with 2 pans on the stove trying to fry them all, making a mess everywhere. Yeah. But
by the way, shout out Tim Meadows. I got to meet him. He came by the deli, had a sandwich. I sat down with him and his wife and his daughter. It's awesome getting to meet you, Tim. And he says his daughter loved the dip from Domenico. So I appreciate that.
Is that what they got? A French dip?
She got the dip. His wife got the Laney special, and Tim got the Soprano.
Tim, I didn't say I have Lulu. Although I do.
I was gonna say you do have Lulu.
I do have a couple. Well, I think I have one pair of Lulu shorts. They're very, very versatile. I mean, you can wear them to work out, wear them to the beach, wear them to the pool, wear them, make a quick grocery run. And then I also have, I'm going to tell you, this will change your life, Tim, Lulu underwear. Jeez. Very, very nice fabric. Very good piece. I mean, I only have one. And typically I'm the guy that wears like I currently have sweatpants on that were given to me by Troy, the equipment manager, circa 2010 is what I'm wearing right now. So most of my wardrobe comes from like at least 10 years ago. But, every once in a while I splurge on, a nice pair of Lulu underwear. You know what I mean? Anyway, now what about cranberry sauce? You like cranberry? You don't like it?
Not a huge cranberry guy. But I will say this. So for all the month of November, we did a Thanksgiving sandwich at the shop because I always carry baked turkey cranberry anyways. That's a big popular sandwich. But I started making a cornbread dressing. So I got the baked turkey cranberry with the cornbread dressing on a toasted roll, some cheddar cheese. It's been real popular. It's been good. Get the sweetness of the cranberry all just goes together, man.
Well, see, on a sandwich, I like traditional cranberry sauce, like real cranberry sauce. Now, I'm going to say something potentially controversial. Thanksgiving Day as a dish by itself, open that can up and dump some cranberry sauce slices on my plate. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I love cranberry. The canned cranberry sauce is fire. I don't care what anybody says. I like it. I like it a lot. You can you've always had the canned cranberry sauce, but now you can go to any grocery store in America and put in your entire Thanksgiving. I hate to say it, it's probably pretty good. I bet it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's going to be cooked perfect. That's the thing about Thanksgiving. It's so difficult if one person cooks everything, which is like when we host, I typically whoever's coming over usually will bring one dish. Like they'll bring sweet potato casserole or something like that. But I want the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And the most difficult part is, okay, if you got a prime rib that takes several hours, you got to time everything up where it's all ready at the same time with just, one oven.
It's an art.
It is tough, dude. Yeah. And then you got all the different recipes. I was again, I look like that meme with what's his name, with all the strings. I got all the recipes out. I'm looking at if this has to cook at 425 and this has to cook at 350, we're gonna put it in there at 425. How much time do we got to take off?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Dial it down.
But it's anyway. We got to talk about some football, Jeff.
Yes, we do.
Hey, what about the Zips of Akron beating Toledo? And now Toledo, the noise is going to start getting louder and louder. I know Rocket Man has been calling people out for their Jason Candle
slander
takes, but I know you don't have anything to play for theoretically. But stuffing, Joe. Are you stuffing or dressing, Jeff? I'm stuffing.
I grew up stuffing, but when I moved to the South, it's dressing now.
It's a Southern thing. That's right. See, we said stuffing too, but of course I grew up in South Florida, which is basically like the Northeast as far as traditions and things go. I know we always talk about it. There is an actual difference.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's all the same to me.
Taste.
You don't want to say stuffing. If you say stuffing in if you were pass the stuffing, they might get upset with you. It's a little bit, it's a little bit controversial, but yeah, Akron jumped on them early, got up 7-0 quick. And then defensively, Toledo couldn't do anything on offense.
No, they couldn't. Yeah. And Ben Finley at quarterback for Akron had a good performance, 2 touchdowns, 194 yards, and Amarion Granger, 2 catches for 106 yards and a touchdown. He had one to open the game that was like a 72-yarder. Man, shout out to Akron. Good for them. They need wins like this. And I hate it for Rocket Man and Toledo. Yeah, 4th win of the season. I think their team total, I think they covered the over this year.
2.5, I thought, wasn't it?
I think so.
See, again, when we talk about coaches and all this stuff, you got to look at expectations. You got to look at what's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you win 4 games at Akron right now, that's based on where you've been. If Kent State next year wins 4 games. Like that's a big time successful year for them.
Yeah.
You can build on, but you can build off of that. You know, you've got now Akron, you've got the confidence like, hey, we just beat the perennial top team in the MAC in Toledo.
That's right.
So I think you build off that. And then Buffalo, I'll tell you, Buffalo's defense is really good. They've been really good. Dolak and Murdoch, those guys especially. I mean, they're the 2 leading
tacklers
in the country. They both play for the same team, and it's not, they're both linebackers. It ain't like it's a safety or a corner. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that defense is good, really good.
Yes, they are. AJ Henderson, another big performance, 30 carries on the ground, 185 yards and a touchdown. Wasn't Buffalo, weren't they the school that teams were complaining that they fudged the tackling numbers? Was that them?
No,
or was that ODU?
That was Jason Henderson.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, but I'm sure those people will come out now and say Buffalo's been doing it. But now Buffalo waits. They wait and watch. They get to enjoy Thanksgiving with their families and hope for a little bit of chaos in the MAC and hope they get a shot at Detroit.
I'll tell you what, Buffalo's not a team I'd want to play right now. They're playing good football.
Jeff, all 4 of the top teams in the MAC are playing good ball right now.
That's
Ohio,
true.
Miami, Bowling Green. I mean, they're all rolling.
Yeah,
they're all rolling right now. But I agree. I think Buffalo is one that you kind of what you're going to get out of Miami. You know what you're going to get out of Bowling Green. But Buffalo's that one where it's like, ooh, they're coming on and they're hot at the right time and they're confident at the right time.
That's right.
I wouldn't want to see them right now. And then Agbana provides a different level of problems for a defense too. So
yeah, 5 total touchdowns.
He's been playing pretty good ball, Jeff, the last few weeks. Again, it's so frustrating, right? Because on one hand, it's, man, Buffalo, you got a chance to really build and be the favorite coming in next year. On the other hand, it's like, how do we keep this roster? How do we keep this guy? So that's what we'll see what happens there. So now they watch for chaos in the MAC. Let's talk about the MAC really quick first. So the most likely scenario, right, is Ohio beats Ball State and plays the winner of Bowling Green, Miami. That's the most likely scenario. Now, if Ohio loses, that's where you're going to have Buffalo sitting. That's what Buffalo's rooting for, is a Ball State win over Ohio on Friday. But I think most likely scenario is Ohio beats Ball State on Friday, and then you have Miami at Bowling Green, which should be incredible. Incredible. You look at that Miami defense. Can somebody contain Harold Fannin Jr.? And then you got Terrion Stewart back there. That's a problem too.
Yeah, and the thing to look out for is Harold Fannin is listed as questionable. So keep an eye on that throughout the rest of the week. You got to think that with the stakes of this game that he's going to play, he's going to get on the field and do what he can. But something to watch, because that's their best player, no bones about it. You don't have your best player in a game like this, it just poses a whole new list of challenges for that offense.
Yeah. Well,
he's got to play though.
See, it's something to look at this week, because a lot of teams are playing on a short week. And there's a lot of distractions this week. Like we've talked about it before. I mean, if you go back and look for us, right, we would practice in the morning on that Thursday, and then we'd have the team meal, that afternoon. We'd have a big Thanksgiving meal. But then, for Thursday afternoon, you got family coming in town. You're trying to coordinate family. Most of these teams are going to be off next week. So then you're trying to coordinate. Are you going home? Are you off? Do you have practice? Do you not? There's a lot of things happening this week on top of a short week, on top of now transfer portal, coaching rumors, all this stuff. So look out this week. There's going to could be a lot of unexpected outcomes. But that's what we got in the MAC. In the American, you already know it's Tulane Army. We've known that for a couple of weeks now. Memphis at Tulane. It's the only college game on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday evening. Now, is there going to be an NFL game on at the same time? Because the NFL wants games at all hours now.
It's pretty much the whole entire day for the NFL.
I don't like how – I know there's nothing you can really do. I don't like how the NFL has just taken more and more of the college football schedule. And then as we get closer to Christmas, you're going to have NFL games on Saturdays and stuff like that. Kind of, I don't know. To me, Thursday night is JV football day. Friday's high school, varsity. Yeah. Saturday, college. Sunday, NFL, man. I'm not complaining about having games every day of the week for college, but, part of me thinks you should. I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyway, Memphis at Tulane. Jeff, what are you thinking?
Vegas has Tulane 14-point favorites. That worries me a little bit. Summerall is a big rat poison guy. I think he's going to have his players ready to go, not believing any of this hype. They've been talked about all over the national media. Summerall's been on a ton of different shows.
I know.
Which we need to get him back on. Hopefully we can get him next week. But no, I think Tulane, like I said, they're playing the best football at the right time of the year. They seem locked in. I just want to see them continue the run that they've had. 14 points is a lot to me. Memphis is a good team. They're not a slouch. And then always playing on a short week, it's just this weird, I know Tulane had
neither of them played.
That's right. They didn't play this past weekend. Yeah. So you're having that just weird schedule, and then you're playing on Thanksgiving. So you wonder how guys come out, for that, not being with their family, not getting that opportunity to go home. I don't know. I think Tulane comes out and win. They got to have a dominating performance on top of beating Army handily in the championship game for them to really make a jump up, hopefully to be that second group of 5 team in the playoff. And I think they understand and know what's at stake.
Well, I think that's what I was going to say, Jeff. I think they probably were watching the CFP rankings come out last night, and I bet it was a quiet kind of like, okay. Yeah. We know what we got to do. We got a chance. We got a chance. I think that's what we probably would have seen out of Tulane. Now, I still think they need some help from Army. I think Army's got to go handle business against UTSA, which I think it's going to be tough. UTSA is playing a lot better. Owen McCown is starting to run it all over the place now. Now, again, UTSA doesn't necessarily have the athletes Notre Dame has, but they got some.
Well, they've been, like you mentioned it, they've been playing really well. In the last 4 games, McCown has 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. And you add a rushing touchdown on top of it. And same thing, Robert Henry leads that monster of a backfield, 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in the last 4 games. So they've been able to figure their offense out. And we saw what Notre Dame did running the ball against Army. Now, I know they don't have the big hogs up front like Notre Dame does, but don't get it twisted. UTSA's got a good offensive line too, and they can move bodies. So, Army needs to handle business. They need to reel themselves back in. I mean, you called this, Bruce. You were predicting a slide the last 4 games of the season for Army. So we'll see how this is a huge game on Saturday for Army. And they want to build some momentum going into the championship game. They still got everything they want. Let's not just write it off like Tulane's the winner. Army's a good team, and they've played well all year.
Yep. No, yeah, you're right. And I'm sure Coach Munkin is telling them that. Like, hey, everybody's sitting there, even before they lost to Notre Dame, everybody was sitting there handing Tulane the trophy. Like, everybody's handing Boise State the playoff berth. It's like, hey, man, you never know. You still never know. You could have all kinds of chaos this weekend. Mm-hmm. And Army's still in this thing. I mean, theoretically, they're in it. I don't know, but I'm going to just stick with what I said earlier in the week, and I'm going to take UTSA just for the typical academy. I don't even think it's typical. It's just happened last year. And I'm just like,
I think it happened at Air Force like 2 years in a row, though.
Well, last year, I mean, Air Force looked like a juggernaut, dude. And then all of the sudden, I mean, they were just smoking everybody. And it wasn't a situation, I don't know. And then they lost to Army. And then they just fell apart. But anyway, and then I think Tulane's going to handle business against Memphis. So Navy going to East Carolina. Blake Harrell did get the job at ECU. So now you're going to play a better team than the last 4 you've played. So you see if you keep that momentum going. But look, I think, again, I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. I think he deserved the right to at least go through the process, and they hired him. So One less pretty good job out there.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you saw the North Carolina news, which there's going to be a lot of names on that list. That'd be a cool. And look, I'm not knocking North Carolina. It'd be a cool place to go. The things I would say, John, if you're watching, basketball school, buddy. It never won't be a basketball school.
That's right.
So you'll always be competing. You'll never be Roy Williams. You'll never be, who was before Roy Williams? Dean Hayes or something? Not Dean Hayes. That was a middle track coach. Wasn't him. Hall of Fame track coach, by the way. But yeah, I mean, that would be a cool place. Chapel Hill is a cool place. A lot of money there. Jordan, it's the Jordan headquarters school or whatever. So, I don't know. North Texas going to Temple, South Florida going to Rice, UAB at Charlotte, FAU at Tulsa. I mean, South Florida, we talked about this, right? They're still really good. They lost the 4 games to the 4 really good teams on their schedule, and they beat everybody else. I mean,
yeah,
that's what happened. I mean,
they just couldn't get through that gauntlet.
They couldn't get through it. We talked about it preseason. They went, what'd they go? Alabama, Miami, Navy was in there, Memphis.
Yeah.
Memphis and Tulane.
Yeah, and Tulane. It was all in a row.
So they lost all 5 of them, right?
Yep.
No, see, there you go. You got to look at these schedules, man. You can't just look at records. You can't look at just wins and losses. You got to look at how it stacks up.
How about the 49ers? They got a win last week. I want to see Deshaun Purdy build on this, get some momentum going into the season at the end of the year. You could end the season at 5-7.
Yeah. Well, and UAB has
I know
played better the last couple of weeks too. So good opportunity for both of them.
Charlotte's at home. Stadium's going to be rocking. The New Orleans is going to be there.
Now, if they sell out or they have a good crowd on Thanksgiving weekend and it's a good student crowd, we need to do a big time study of the people there.
Yeah,
because this is a weekend when most people don't get crowds, which is why I stand by my thought that this should be conference championship weekend. There would only be 9 places that would have games.
Yeah.
And it would be a very high stakes game that you would think people would go to. Anyway, Conference USA. So in the American, if Tulane wins this game, it's going to be Army at Tulane. If Tulane loses and Army wins, it'll be Tulane at Army. If they both lose, I assume it'll be still at Tulane. Not entirely sure on that. Conference USA, here's what you got. Liberty at Sam Houston. If Liberty wins, they are in, going to Jacksonville State. If Sam Houston beats Liberty and Jacksonville State beats Western Kentucky, it'll be Sam Houston at Jacksonville State. If Sam Houston beats Liberty and Western Kentucky beats Jacksonville State, it'll be Western Kentucky at Jacksonville State. Great scheduling by Conference USA to have your last 2 weeks of the year, your 4 top teams all playing each other. Interested to see what Jacksonville State does. They're already hosting. They're already in. Do they try to position themselves to play or not play somebody, right? Do they think they can beat Western Kentucky, and do they rest some guys and let Western Kentucky get this win? I don't know. I don't think you do that. I would never do that as a coach. I think you play to win every game you're in. But interesting to look at, see if they're resting anybody, see if they're resting Huff or Sanders. Is that the running back's name? Trey Sanders? Is that his name? Trey something. Oh boy, I'm
blanking as well. I was looking something up. What I was going to say about Conference USA is Liberty has seemed, the last couple games has found their offense again. And what they found is their running game. Last 3 games, they've scored an average of 37 points, and they've really have gotten Cooley going, and Salters contributed in the run game. And to me, that's their key. That they got to play like they're a triple option style team. They gotta pound the rock, use play action to supplement it, and control time of possession and limit turnovers. If they can do that, that's how they win football games. That's how they won most of their football games last year. And they seem to be playing better, so we'll see how that goes. with Jacksonville State, man, they've just have really turned their season around. They look good. Huff is playing about as good as you can in this style of offense as anybody in the country. And I love that they're getting the host. You know, people bag Conference USA a lot, right? Look at the top teams in this conference. And I don't know what that says about our alma mater and some of the other teams that have been in Conference USA, but two of the new teams that came in are at the top of the conference. Adding a couple more. Yeah. I don't know. It's just something about schools that are hungry and growing, and you add them to your conference. I just think it's beneficial, especially when you're trying to honestly keep your conference alive.
Well, and we've talked about this with the Sun Belt too. It's, you know, you look at Jacksonville State, they were really good in FCS for a really long time. You go and you look at James Madison or App State or Georgia Southern. These are teams again, we talk about this often, winning cultures. They just win. They just expect to win whoever they play, whatever level they're at. I mean, Jacksonville State was beating Power 4 teams as an FCS school on multiple occasions. So for them to come into Conference USA, it's just like, hey, we got some new logos on our schedule, but it don't matter. We're just going to come in and play them. Same with Sam Houston. Now, Kennesaw State, it's a little bit different, right? This is a newer program. So they haven't been around winning for a really long time. So you see them struggle. But yeah, I mean, it's almost like people were knocking Conference USA saying it's a glorified FCS conference, but then it's the FCS schools that are winning it. So you're right. Like, what does that say about Middle and FIU and some of these that have been around a long time? But again, I think you got to be happy with it from a long-term perspective. You got to be happy that the new teams are performing because it does elevate your conference as a whole. They just don't have the brand. I think a lot of it is, man, the Jacksonville State game, if you watch it on TV, it's not sold out, purple streamers flying everywhere. Like a lot of that is why when you watch James Madison, you're like, oh, dang, like they're ready. This is big time football already. A lot of that is because their fans show up, not necessarily the on the field product. It's good at both schools.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I did want to mention this when we were talking about the American. I forgot. Rice hired Scott Abel.
Yeah, out of Davidson, right?
Davidson head coach, and did a good job there. I got to look more into him and his background, but that's another job that's off the list coming out of the Pioneer Conference, Davidson.
That Charlotte job.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. But now North Carolina's open. So a lot of people, I've heard Chadwell to North Carolina. I don't think
somebody said in the chat, what about Rich Rod?
Maybe. Hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not. But, PJ Fleck, I don't know. I feel like his shtick is kind of run its course.
Jamie Chadwell?
I've heard that. I've seen that one.
No, I think he's locked in at Liberty.
Yeah. And I think, Summerall's his name's going to come up for every job.
Every job.
But realistically, I'm being honest, and I don't know this, this is just me speculating. I think he knows what he and his staff can build at Tulane. And I think he's not going to go unless it's the one. And I don't know what the one is, whether that's Kentucky or it's, which is his alma mater, or it's LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't be far from giving up on old BK down there. But Brian Kelly, I know we got to go. We're going way over today, Jeff. Sorry. But have you seen UConn's basketball coach, Dan Hurley? I mean, he's a psychopath.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean, he's like wanting to fight, and he's like got that death stare on the sideline. And then he cost his team the game by dog cussing the ref, and then he's talking about the call. It's like, well, buddy, the foul isn't what cost you the game. You got a tech afterwards.
Yeah. He's wild.
I'm a little too young probably to know like what Bobby Knight was really like, but it seems like that's who he's like. He got an anger problem. Anyway, in the Mountain West, Boise State's already in. They're hosting. If UNLV wins, they're in, and we get the rematch. If they lose and Colorado State beats Utah State, we're going to have Boise State, Colorado State in the championship game. Boise's playing Oregon State at home Friday. I'm telling you, man, they got to just get that game over with. They got to, like, shoot Genty up with a cortisone shot.
Something.
Be like, you're getting 20 carries in the first half and we're putting this thing away. That's what and then you're getting off the field. You're going and you're getting in a hyperbaric chamber, and we're just going to give you everything. We're going to give you every IV, every peptide we're allowed to give you. And then you got to, I don't know, man. And then you got to rest them up, because then again, you don't have you're playing on Friday again. So you got another Friday game, and more than likely it's going to be UNLV, who is not going to be easy. I'm telling you right now, UNLV is like Boise State. I know they won't ever say it. I'm sure their fans are like, oh boy.
Yeah.
To play them again. And what do we say, Jack? I know they beat UNLV already in Vegas, but again, the toughest thing to do is to beat a good team twice.
And that game was down to the wire as well. And Genty, he left the game for a couple series last week. Everything that I'm seeing says he's going to play. He's not on like any extended injury lists or anything. So you got to imagine that he's going to suit up and go. But yeah, if we get a rematch, that Boise State UNLV game is going to be epic. It's going to be such a great matchup.
Yeah, it'll be fun for the football fan. That's what you want. I mean, that's going to be the game you want to watch for sure. But what's Genty? He's got the elbow, and I remember that happening. That was he kind of hyperextended it in the UNLV game, but he's got like a ankle or foot or something too. They kept zooming in on it in the game last week, and I was like,
the guy's carried the ball 30 plus times in every game. He probably every joint hurts on his body. I
want everybody to just picture this, okay? I want you, everybody, after this show, to go to your, like, it's probably not like a brick wall. It's probably like a wall that has a little give, maybe some drywall, or like a garage. Go to your garage and just sprint into it 30 times. And then rest up for a couple of days and then go do it next week and just see how the body's feeling after that.
I mean, it's like getting in a car wreck every single week.
Yeah, 34 times, 30 times, dude.
Jeez.
It's like getting in a car wreck and also a couple sprinkled in, 100-yard sprints in there.
You just wonder too, this is completely future. Like, does NFL teams, when they're looking at drafting him, I know. Does that bother them? The workload that he's,
see, you
undertaking.
Could look at it a couple ways. You could look at it like, how many more miles does this guy have on him? Or you could look at it like, look at his durability. Like, sure, he got beat up, but he played every damn game.
That's
true. We still were able to give it to him. And in my thing is this, dude. We're NFL draft wise. I'm not a GM. I never thought, but like, you see what Saquon Barkley's doing, what Christian McCaffrey does when he's healthy. Everybody wants to devalue the running back, but you see when you have an elite one, I get it. Like I'm all for, like, you go from an okay one to another okay one. Like, sure, you could get away with that. But when you have a guy that's special, that can play every down, like, I don't know. I mean, okay, what if you only get 4 or 5 years out of him? Okay, how many years are most of these guys getting out of first-round quarterbacks?
Exactly.
Not even that. So, I think if you look around the league right now, and there's maybe Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, is that it? Like elite, like quarterbacks like that are like could take you to a championship. That might be
Kirk Cousins is playing pretty good this year.
Yeah, but everybody knows he's a journeyman. You know what I mean? But okay, Kirk Cousins, you can go find Kirk Cousins in free agency and put a good team around him.
I don't know.
Not
I
anymore.
wanted Kirk Cousins in Vegas.
I know you did. You got Gardner Minshew instead.
We do have Desmond Ridder. He ain't been doing much. I want to see Carter Bradley get a shot. Like, at this point, we are terrible. Why not give Carter Bradley an opportunity? Like, you had 2 spots in the preseason and hadn't seen a snap. He's on the practice squad. Elevate his ass and let him go. But
but I think Boise will take care of business against, or I think we'll get the matchup.
I think we do.
We will. UNLV at home, rivalry game against Nevada. It is a rivalry game, but I think I think UNLV as a team, I think Barry Odom and John Summerall are very similar in their ability to lock their guys in with all the distractions. With UNLV, you had the Sluka situation. Everybody saying Barry Odom's another name for some of these jobs, and they're just locked in, dude. No veer off course, you know. And I think they probably had the same reaction. I think they probably watched the playoff thing last night, and they probably looked at each other and they said, "Okay, we're still alive. Like, let's go handle business." And that's going to be the real tough decision, is if a Tulane wins out and if UNLV beats Boise. That to me is, you're not going to get two in that scenario. Like, if UNLV gets in, they're going to be the only one in, and they'll be 12. But boy, you could make that argument, because UNLV and Tulane, to me, both of them they're both very similar, right? Really good on defense, got guys all over the field, got weapons, and had a young quarterback or a change at quarterback early in the season. And they're both of them are doing phenomenal right now. Anyway, I also kind of think Utah State's going to beat Colorado State anyway. So
they're hot.
Yeah, they're red hot. Couple chances at Power 5 wins or Power 4 wins. Stanford out of the ACC at San Jose State Friday. Fresno at UCLA. Wyoming's got Washington State. I mean, I don't know. San Jose State ought to get Stanford.
It's going to be close.
Nick Nash setting records all over the place. So, And then Fresno, if they play the way they did the other night, they got a chance for UCLA.
Absolutely.
So, real quick, we're going to go through the Sun Belt. I mean, this is the one that's still crazy. There are 5 Sun Belt games that have an impact on this conference championship, and that's Texas State at South Alabama. South Alabama needs to win. Louisiana at Monroe. Louisiana needs to win. I mean, if they win, it makes this whole thing a lot simpler. You got Coastal at Georgia State. That game doesn't matter. Southern Miss at Troy. That game doesn't matter. As far as conference championships, Old Dominion at Arkansas State. Arkansas State needs to win. App State at Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern needs to win and hope for some help with Marshall. And then App State needs to win to try to make a bowl. And then Marshall at James Madison is going to be phenomenal.
That game is
phenomenal.
Massive.
I mean, that is two programs, a lot of history. Both of them have been very good. Now, James Madison doesn't really have as much to play for. Marshall does, but I know James Madison would love to ruin Marshall's season. So, do you think any of those games go the opposite direction, right? I mean, Texas State versus South, South is probably the better team at this point.
Yeah.
Do they win? That's Friday. So if South wins, they'll sit there and watch. So your scenarios are this. Let me just go over them again real quick. I went over them on Monday. If Marshall wins or Georgia Southern loses, Marshall's in. If Georgia Southern beats App State and Marshall loses to James Madison, Georgia Southern gets in. That's your scenarios in the East. Pretty straightforward. The West, if Louisiana wins, they're in and more than likely host. If South wins, Louisiana loses, Arkansas State loses, South is in. If Arkansas State wins, South and Louisiana lose, Arkansas State is in. If Louisiana loses and Arkansas State and South win, we'll have a 3-way tie, which will go to South for record in the division. So because one of South Alabama's losses is to Georgia Southern out of the East, they have one less loss out of the West. So they have the better record against the West, which will propel them into the conference championship, which will at that point more than likely be at Marshall or Georgia Southern. I think that's the route Georgia Southern fans are hoping for.
Yeah.
They get a game in Statesboro again. But again, it could be real simple if Louisiana and Marshall just win.
Which I'm not so certain. I mean,
I'm not very certain on either one of them. I mean,
I'm starting to really believe that Marshall is the real deal. The only thing that I'll say is James Madison, after a loss this year, typically comes back and look very good, and they're at home. I don't know how the crowd's going to be because of Thanksgiving weekend, but they've shown up all year. That's going to be a hostile environment. It's going to be an awesome game, and then you get the rivalry game between Louisiana and Monroe. I mean, these games can go any direction.
And the rivalry game, App and Georgia Southern.
Like, throw out all your stats, throw out anything you think you know. Anything can happen. I think App State wins. I'm going to just be honest in that game. I think App State's found themselves towards the later part of the year and have figured out ways to win ball games.
They're going to be in shambles.
You're welcome, Josh Bevel. I just jinxed App for you.
I wore App State today, and I was probably going to pick that too to do Georgia Southern a favor. Jeff, you're a gambling man. I bet there's some serious value in taking the underdog in every one of these Sun Belt games.
100%. I may just do it and just throw like $10.
See what happens. Yeah. I don't even have the lines on here. I imagine if you took Texas State.
There, a lot of them are pick 'em, but Texas State's favored by 1. Louisiana's favored by 9.5. Troy's favored by 17. Good God.
Southern Miss is down bad, but
ODU's favored by 4, so you got a little value there. Take Ark State.
Couple home dogs.
Georgia Southern's favored by 2.5. I'd take App. James Madison's favorite. I'd definitely take Marshall. That's 3 dogs right there. Little onion, little mustard.
Yeah, well, Marshall too, buddy. I mean, the Huff. Why would Huff go to Southern Miss? I get it. Like, there's been some back and forth between him and the fans, but they're rolling right now. And it's funny because the rumors. It's like you always wonder, right? Who's planning these rumors? Is it Huff's agent? Is it? I mean, I wouldn't put it past somebody at James Madison, right? Or somebody at Georgia Southern. Maybe Lenny B made a phone call to the local paper and said, "Hey, look, start this rumor. We want Huff. Get this rumor going. Get some distractions going."
There you go.
So I don't know.
Josh is in the chat. Sorry, Josh. Well, actually, you're welcome. I jinxed App for you.
Josh, did you plant the Huff to Southern Miss story so that
water hose drinkers?
It is warmer in Hattiesburg. Hattiesburg. I think I don't know. We went down there one time. I had a pretty good time in Hattiesburg. But I don't know. Marshall's got the support. They got the fan base. They got a lot of history. Both of them have a lot of history and tradition, but I don't know.
Throw it all out the window this weekend, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. You can throw it out the window, but what a weekend we are going to have. And it's just the perfect weekend. Weather's going to be it's getting colder too.
Can Mike Green affect that game?
Can he? Yeah,
I know he can.
That's the thing. They did give up some points this past week. Man, that's going to be it. Is that the game? Wait. I mean, that's the game of the week, right?
It's got to be.
I mean, that's going to be the one. That's the one you want to watch.
7 p.m. kick.
Is it on? Do we have it on? Do we have it on ESPNU or something?
ESPNU.
How about that? So I don't know. Thank God on Thursday that's the only game, so we don't have to watch the Egg Bowl. I mean, my God. Well, so we hope for some chaos still in the Big 12. Maybe we hope for some chaos out of the ACC. And we kind of hope for chalk in the Group of 5 to get 2. If you want to, that's what you get. You got to root for Boise and you got to root for Tulane if you want to. If you're a fan of Army or UNLV or Marshall or Louisiana or Georgia Southern, then you got to root for like everybody to lose this week except you. Man,
it's going to be a great one.
It'll be fun.
We got one voicemail and then we'll get out of here.
Let's do it. You guys call that hotline. Call it after this weekend. because we got conference championships. There's only going to be a couple games next week to talk about. So we should have some more time to hit all these voicemails. 615-900-4286. See what we got.
Group of 5 guys. Brett checking in Fort Collins. Took a couple days to finally get the bad taste out of my mouth after a bad loss at Fresno State. CSU, down and out. Most likely out of the Mountain West Championship game. Needs some help from Nevada. But that's why we put hope into our CSU team that has done this pretty historically over the years. Give us hope and then cut the rope, if you know what I mean. So, tough to swallow, but good season overall. I think it's only our second 8-win season since 2014 with Jim McElwain, and it'd be only our third 8-win season since 2002. So we've been in football purgatory here for the greater part of the century here. But a lot of injuries, down to 2 running backs. Avery Morrow probably out for the year with an MCL. Got a freshman, Jalen Dupree, that's out with a back the rest of the year. I think this game you really saw the security blanket of Torrey Horton and Gallon Holker not being there this year. And, I think overall successful season. Not going to complain at all, but hopefully we can go out and beat Utah State, be an 8-win program, go to a good bowl, a bowl, and hopefully build on this for next year. So, and I got to comment on Wyoming Ben. Man, what a treasure. If my team was 2-8, I'd probably be calling the show half-cocked every week too, but, he still happens to be my brother-in-law, and when I saw him on Sunday and offered him a beer, he declined and said, quote, "It got a little rough last night." He said, yeah, well, what a treasure to the Group of 5 guys he is. So keep it going. Proud to be. God bless Group of 5 guys.
Appreciate you, man. I didn't know he's his brother-in-law.
I didn't know that either.
There we go.
Little family ties. See, look at this. Look at this thing, huh? Jeff, I think we need to make that our official slogan, because most everybody says God bless Group of 5, God bless Group of 5 guys, go whoever. I think that should be our thing. I think we should end the show very presidential.
I love
God bless these United States.
I love it.
Then we could practice. That way we could practice every day, so that when you're running for mayor and you take that up, now state government and then even federal government, and then I become the commissioner of the NCAA.
There you go. There it is.
I just want to let y'all know, guys, when I'm commissioner, we're getting everybody in. We're getting 5 teams in these playoffs, at least, maybe 6. Because I think here's the thing. Here's my Jeff. I know we got to go. I'm sorry. We get 16-team playoff. We got all 5 of our conference champs. I'm arguing for a Mountain West runner-up as an at-large bid at this point in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that. I'm saying, hey, we want UNLV and Boise in this thing. They deserve it. They've earned it. Anyway, that's all we got for you guys today. Hope everybody has an awesome Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Spend time with your family. Talk about politics. Talk about college football. Get everybody fired up. And then take your ass to the basement, sit on the chair, flip on Tulane and Memphis, and enjoy some peace and quiet. That's my plan. Hope everybody's going to join me on that plan. But it's going to be a fun weekend. We'll be back Monday morning with reactions, and we'll start getting ready for 5 conference championship games. Make sure you hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, the share button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Download the Varsity app for free. Listen to the show on there. Get you some Deca Grey coffee. God bless the Group of 5. God bless the Group of 5 Guys. Pretty good.
I like it.
We're out of
See
here.
you later.